Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hello, and welcome to the program. I am the aforementioned Lynn Cullen, and it is January 4, 2019. And here we go. I mean, into the void of the new year. We're going to be joined later by a gentleman I bumped into somewhere who, in some respects, I guess, represents a lot of disaffected blue-collar, used-to-be Democrats. I believe he still votes Democrat, but I thought it might be interesting to talk to him. So he's stopping by. We had to wait until a day when he had a day off work, and he works hard. So that'll be later. I'd like just to start with some tweets that I came across in the last 24 hours that caught my eye by virtue of the issues they bring up or the point of view they bring forward. This is the one that's most unnerving to me because I think this could well be the way this presidency ends. And I won't be happy if this is the way it ends. But here's the tweet. According to an ex-Bush advisor, Trump will use his presidency as a bargaining chip with federal and state authorities in 2019. He'll use it by agreeing to leave the office of the presidency in exchange for the federal and state authorities not pursuing criminal charges against him, his children, or the Trump organization. Now, I have little doubt that that would be something that he would say when things get too hot, when the clear indicators are that he will be indicted upon leaving office or that his children are indicted. All right, you guys, I'm out of here and I'll resign, but I'll only do it if you agree not to come after me or my children criminally. And there's part of me that cannot bear the thought of this most despicable of human beings getting off without consequence, of having, as he always has had, a chip to bargain with so that he can create havoc wherever he goes in his life. And things get taken care of one way or the other. So he can continue to just create havoc and never has to pay the piper. I want this guy to pay the piper. So I am hoping, I frankly can't see how, I don't think New York State will ever agree to that. But I don't know. That certainly is. I know I was asking the question about a month ago, how does this end? How do you see it ending? And I will stick by my guns that I don't think that he will fill out his full term of 4 years. I know plenty of you think there's a real danger of an 8-year Trump presidency, and there's no way that I can see. None. But I don't want to see it end that way. I'm just saying it's something that has been troubling me because it seems probable. It certainly seems possible. You know, let us recall, Nixon, rather than be impeached, said, okay, all right, I'm out of here. And he left without, unless I'm remembering incorrectly, any promises from anybody that he would not be indicted or face some kind of legal jeopardy once he was out of the presidency. The fact that his vice president, who ascended to the presidency, Gerald Ford, immediately pardoned Nixon, was met by howls of protest. But there are those who say that Gerald Ford did the right thing in that he just ended it so that the country could move forward. I don't want a pardon of any kind or a deal of any kind being the end of this shameful presidency. Here's another tweet that caught my eye. This is from a guy named Eric Lipton, who I think writes for the New York Times. And he said, as of Thursday, yesterday, the Department of Defense will be run by a former senior Boeing executive. The EPA is run by a former coal lobbyist. Health and Human Services is run by a former pharmaceutical lobbyist. And Interior will be run by a former oil industry lobbyist. This is in-your-face Republican politics that just really stunning. Find as many wolves as you can to guard all these hen houses. You know, the revolving door between the private sector and the public sector is something that I feel has corrupted our government's state, local level. This takes things to an absurd degree that people who fought these departments and their regulations in the private sector under a Republican administration ascend to head those very regulatory departments. And that's what Republicans would say, is winning. That's winning. Elections have consequences. Indeed. And, yeah. Okay. So there is that. Here's one. And I think Barbara sent me this. This one makes me crazy. It's from a guy named Yona Freemark, and he says, I just reminded myself that the distance between New York City and Chicago is almost exactly the distance between Beijing and Shanghai. And that New York and Chicago is served by one train a day that takes 19 hours to get from Chicago to New York City. And Beijing to Shanghai, same distance, is served by 35 trains a day that can take as few as 4.5 hours. When was Trump supposedly going to have that infrastructure week, month, day? What? Our infrastructure is a national embarrassment. And people who don't get out of the country much don't realize it. But I think that Americans think of themselves as much more advanced than China. And yet, can you imagine a train between New York and Chicago operating 35 times a day? What is that? Like leaving more than every hour on the hour. Every 45 minutes, you can hop a train, and you'll be in the other city in 4.5 hours. Can you imagine? Well, that is reality in China and in other countries as well. And our infrastructure is it's just a disaster. Okay, so there was that. And here's a weird one. And it is a tweet from a very beloved Pittsburgh Steeler player, voted their MVP this year by the players, and that'd be Juju Smith-Schuster, an ebullient guy, very likable guy from what I can tell. I follow him on Twitter. I get a kick out of him. But this one blew my mind because this comes from him, and okay, here's a tweet from Juju Smith-Schuster. Fact of the day: water is not wet. Water is a liquid that wets things. Wet is the condition of a liquid sticking to a solid surface, such as water wetting our skin. We cannot say that water is wet because it takes a liquid and a solid to define the term wet. If any of you want to try to explain that to me, go for it. Juju Smith-Schuster. And I just noticed here, he tweeted a picture with it. Oh, it's awful cute. It's just a picture of him sitting looking miserable in front of his locker. But I don't know why that would be the picture. And somebody wrote back to him, yeah, you're not in the playoffs, so I guess you have time to think about stuff like this. That water is not wet. And somebody else tweeted, exactly how high are you? So anyway, just because it made me laugh. And this blew my mind. This was today. I also follow Rick Seaback, the beloved local television documentarian and avuncular gourmand. I could throw out a million adjectives. Rick Seaback's work is, beloved here. He has done God knows how many documentaries for the public television. and he has sort of cataloged Pittsburgh. He is somebody, a native son who just loves the place and translates it for everybody. And Rick Seaback is about the nicest person you'd ever want to meet. Genuinely nice. He looks nice. He sounds nice. When you see him on TV, you think, gee, he seems nice. And, you know, that's often true of people on TV. And let me tell you, it isn't always true of them when they're off TV. But Rick Seaback is true. So explain to me how I saw a tweet today that didn't allow whatever he was tweeting to be, it said, this tweet could contain sensitive what do they say? Anyway, so I sent it to me here to tell you, what in the hell could sweet Rick Seaback be tweeting that Twitter doesn't allow to come through my feed? But what's interesting is when I sent it to myself here, I don't get that. I don't get the same thing. So let me see if I can get to it. Oh, for God's sake. Here's what Twitter refused to let me see. Someone tweeting to Rick Seaback, "Hey Rick, the history of Pittsburgh in 17 objects showed up on my DVR. You gotta love smart TVs. My favorite thing about the show, obviously, is the green weenie." Oh, I'm clutching my pearls. Did that person say green weenie? Yes, there it is. Well, I ended up answering my own question. Wow, amazing. We have a caller. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Let me. Hello.
Yeah. Hello?
Let me. Let me apologize for making this call, but I'm standing here, making myself some French toast, and you mentioned Seaback.
Yes.
And then you mentioned that he was a historian, and I noticed that his last name was Seaback. And I went, that's interesting. And I went, that's interesting. Let me call in.
Okay.
Let me call and say that.
Let me call in, and say.
Yeah, I've always made that call in.
Right. And isn't it funny that Seaback is a historian? I think you should go back to.
I didn't notice that 20 years ago. By the way, I have a picture with Seaback.
Yeah. He's a nice guy. Isn't he a nice guy?
Yes, he is. I think I was with you when I had it taken.
You know, I'm thinking that's true too, and I think it was downtown at some cartoon.
Like a cartoon thing.
Yeah. The what's the news the cartoon museum place.
Yeah, exactly.
And Seaback was and isn't that night somebody? Oh, that was the night Mr. McFeely got sick. Speedy delivery. Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, God, that was quite a party. Mr. McFeely was hauled out in an ambulance.
And I also had my picture taken with the puppeteer of Oscar the Grouch.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, he was there. Yeah. And he also was. Didn't he do Big Bird too? No.
Yeah, he did Big Bird. Yeah, he was more known for doing Big Bird than he was for doing
Oscar the Grouch. Oscar. Right. Yeah. He was a big, tall, wonderful guy. Yeah, and he did just die. Well, wow. Hey, your French toast is burning.
No, it's not. I'm sitting here looking at it. I do 6 slices and cook them slow.
You do 6 slices? That's all for you?
Thick.
Oh, thick slices.
Thick. 6 slices.
Okay.
Although there are 4 thick slices.
Really?
eat again until like 3 or 4 o'clock.
Yeah, okay, so it's like brunch or something. Yeah.
It's more brunch than it is lunch, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, all right. All right, you.
Okay.
That,
all right.
always nice to hear from you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. I'm almost done with my tweets. Hang on. Oh, this one today. And you'll be hearing about it. I sort of groaned when I saw it. This is about the, I wanted to remember to say that I groaned. This new congresswoman, one of the 2 Muslim women who were sworn in yesterday, was taped afterwards saying to, a jubilant bunch of pals and friends and who knows who, I'm not sure where it was taken, but she did say, we're going to go in and impeach the motherfucker. That's what she said. And, fine. I don't think that's helpful. And if the Democrats want to, we've been saying we need some adults to come in. We don't have to go there. I mean, that's just ridiculous. It needlessly freaks out people, and then we start fighting amongst ourselves. I mean, come on. Little, I might be showing my age, but I really would prefer, and I say fuck all the time, but I'm not a congressperson. And if I were a congressperson, I would not, and even knowing how I feel about him, I would not say that, because it's just needlessly incendiary. There's no it doesn't do any good. It doesn't move you forward. In fact, it just adds oxygen to the fire. And guys, I'm just saying, to me, not helpful. And it doesn't, and I see a lot of people defending her, but the defenses are like, well, yeah, she's talking about the guy who says, I'll grab him by the this and that, and the adulterer, God knows. Yeah. None of that is, come on, I don't know. So anyway, there was that. And it's just distracting, okay? And it gives ammo to the other side. It's just not helpful. I don't think. Not smart. And then I saw this, and I did not know about this, so I just wanted to let you know. This was a tweet that was put out by Pittsburgh Public Safety. Apparently, there's going to be a rally on Monday in front of the city-county building. And it's going to be gun, Second Amendment people. It'll be people, it'll be people saying to Peduto in the city, don't you dare think you're going to enact gun legislation in the wake of the Tree of Life shooting, which is something that the city has said they want to do. But in fact, I guess legally cannot, by virtue of the state has to sign off on this kind of stuff. Anyway, the public safety wants to let everybody know that the city is planning for this rally in no different manner than any other rally. Public safety will have police officers present. That means uniformed police, plainclothes officers, officers on motorcycles, bicycles, and in vehicles throughout the event. They're expecting more than 500 people. And organizers are urging those who are attending not to riot, fight, or taunt others with their firearms. So these guys coming here to demonstrate on Monday are going to be carrying weapons. And the organizers tell their attendees, if you choose to carry, please do it in a safe and responsible manner. Public safety says many residents do not want a gun rights rally to be held in the city. On the other hand, gun rights activists believe it's important at this time to rally on behalf of their Second Amendment rights. So we understand the emotion that we're dealing with. Our job is not to take a side, but to ensure public safety for all. Just saying, heads up. Monday at, I don't know when it is. Sometime on Monday. And I'm not seeing when exactly. We have one more caller. Did we have a caller? No? Oh no, you're just telling me the guest is here. Okay. Okay. Well, just a few other things. New York Times in their front page piece on the shutdown. By the way, the shutdown, if it lasts for another week, if it lasts through not tomorrow, but the following Saturday, it will be the longest government shutdown in American history. Just so you know. Also, the New York Times in this piece on the shutdown and how some Republican senators are getting queasy about Mitch McConnell, refusing to take up anything that Trump won't sign. In other words, refusing to take up anything that doesn't include funding for his stupid-ass wall. The New York Times piece says this: a second vulnerable Republican, Senator Susan Collins of Maine, one of the chamber's most moderate members, said Thursday that, and I just stopped there. I said, what? What? Hey, New York Times, why, how in the hell do you say Susan Collins is one of the more moderate members of that chamber? Now, maybe if you'd said moderate members of the Republican Party, but that's not what you say, and I don't even think she qualifies as a moderate Republican. She's not. She's all talk. She votes with these right-wingers down the line. What the F are you calling her moderate? Show me. Tell me. Because she says she's pro-choice? Even though she votes for Kavanaugh and Gorsuch? I mean, she's pro-choice, though. Right. Gotcha. Jesus H. Okay, well, guys, I think that was it. I think those were my tweets. And I'm a little nervous about my guest, but I guess we better get him in here and just see what the hell happens, okay? I don't really know this guy. Yeah, Amy's going to go get him. We'll see. Wish me luck. I hope this is edifying. I just don't have a clue if it'll be or not. Here he comes. Here he comes. You sit right there, Joe.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well.
Good. I forgot what you looked like.
Yeah, I do that sometimes.
Do you? I mean, or you can't remember somebody?
No.
Oh.
Just
Is that your lunch?
No, I brought you some stuff.
Oh,
My kid and I made this for a bunch of these for Christmas. It's pretty cool.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's all recycled stuff, and it was flat like an old piece of gutter or something.
And you made it into a flower.
Yeah.
Well, how lovely.
And I brought you some eggs. Do you eat eggs?
Yeah.
I got chickens, so
You
I brought
do?
you some eggs.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, oh God, oh God. Well, you know the way into a woman's heart, through her stomach. Thank you. You got me all flustered.
Good.
Let me see what these eggs look like. Oh, good, they're brown. I like brown eggs better. Why is that? I don't know. There's no difference, right?
I don't think so, but
Does chicken have a name?
there's one. I think it was like Hoopy Butt or something. When it was little, it got that. So here's a story of the chickens. My two daughters go to Kappa.
Get closer to that. Don't get
Hello?
comfortable on me. Yeah, right. I need you up there.
So they go to Kappa, and one's a senior and one's in 9th grade. And it's great having kids in Kappa because they bring all this great art home.
Are they both? So what are they doing in Kappa?
They're both in visual arts.
Visual arts. Okay.
So, and my youngest she's been like an artist since she was like 5.
Where do they get that from? You?
No, I mean I make stuff. My wife's real artsy fartsy, and
Okay.
yeah, it's in general on both sides of our family, mostly my wife's side. But my youngest was an artist since she was little, and the older one was more of a dancer, but she got into visual arts, and now she's very talented. We all these paintings and stuff all over.
Isn't
her
that
house.
nice?
It's great.
Isn't
Yeah.
that wonderful?
You know, just think about all the. It's great. Art's an important part of life. God. And
Why don't more people understand that? Why don't more people understand that? I met you at an art event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
I mean, yeah. So why do you know that? And you think your children help you to know that, or what? Because people, every time they start cutting things in the schools, art out the door.
I had I'm in a union, and I'm a sheet metal worker. I've had 30 years in the union, and I've had my union brothers say to me, if you want your kid to learn about art at school, then you take them in the evening and send them to some art school. So my question is, what point do we stop teaching things? Do we cut history out? Do we cut math out?
Yeah.
I mean, and this is one of my points. Think about what you're saying. Just don't start blathering at your mouth. Just take some time and think. My wife and I have 4 kids, and they're really great, and it's been a hard life for them because they've gone to city schools the whole time, and it's good in high school, but elementary school was terrible. But we've always taught our kids to be considerate. I think it's probably, I don't know if that came out intentionally, but we always ask them to be considerate. Consider everything. Consider what you're going to say, what you're going to do, and it's been hard for them because people are inconsiderate.
Huh.
And, just
I've noticed.
Get the hell out of the way.
People are self-involved now.
Mm-hmm.
Being considerate requires looking beyond yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? Right. So there's not a lot. Actually, there was a columnist in the New York Times today who sort of wrote about this in a very sarcastic manner. And he's talking about the morality of selfism, how it's so off-putting, really, that people... we're a totally self-involved culture now, and it's not a pleasant culture, is it? It's just not, because there's not a lot of consideration.
Is there any way I can see myself on camera while we're talking?
No. You can see yourself later on camera.
That was a joke. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's a continuation of
Did I ever introduce you? This is Joe Pivo, right?
Yeah.
Joe Pivo and I met at a Planned Parenthood event.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And also at that little rally for the cartoonist at...
for Rob Rogers?
Yeah, and I actually got all my kids to go there, and they...
Oh, I didn't know you were
there.
They
stayed there for about 20 minutes, and then they left. But
oh, God.
did you see this new...
Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome. You see this new cartoonist they have?
Oh, dear. No, see, I've seen some of his work, and just appalling.
It's so bad, it's bad.
I know, it's so bad, it's beyond belief. It really is.
When you see somebody doing something and you feel embarrassed for them, it's like, oh, man.
But listen, so we met at this Planned Parenthood event that was art. People were bidding on art stuff, and that was a fundraiser for Planned Parenthood. And we started talking, and then I got this brilliant idea. Did I get that idea that night? You should come on the show, and because you were sort of pissed. You were a little pissed off that night, I think. I would say your attitude was.
Yeah, I
you
was.
were combative.
I was. There were a couple reasons. First off, it was like 9 o'clock at night, and I'd worked since, the whole day outside, and I still have all my work clothes on, and I didn't expect to go there. I ran into a friend of mine who
had some artwork there.
So she's like, free drinks. I'm like, yeah. So you were sort of talking about, how they're taking funding away and how there's all this crap against people are just against Planned Parenthood. They don't even know what it is. They just know they hate it because
they've been told to hate it.
And you started talking about, we have to stop this. And you were giving a pretty rousing, like a rabble-rouser kind of speech where I would think people should have been like, yeah, every sentence or a little bit. And they're like looking at their feet. And, I'm like, I don't get it. Like, I do get it because,
So you didn't feel, you sort of didn't like, you didn't sort of like a lot of you didn't feel like you were part of this group. You looked around and thought, these people are not my people. Didn't you kind of? That's where you were?
Yeah, those were all probably liberals there.
Oh, they were all liberals.
And I think I'm a liberal.
Yeah, you're a liberal, but they're liberals that look like liberals. And I'm afraid you look sort of like you might have voted for Trump.
I might have, but I didn't.
It was a class thing? So you don't like, so you have this blue collar sort of thing where you look at fancy dancy liberals who weren't responding like they should have to my great speechifying, and they annoy the hell out of you. They annoy the hell out of me too. I'm telling you.
I guess I was pretty cranked up that night. They go around and start slapping people in the back of their heads. Come on. But
I actually went out onto I was feeling the same way. So we were on the same wavelength because I remember nobody was bidding on the art. And I said, what do you think you people are here for? And I even went out into the crowd and glared at people if they were talking when somebody else was giving a speech.
That was a strange
event.
Yeah,
I didn't like it either.
My oldest daughter, she volunteered, and I work with some serious
Trump people.
And I always try to mention how my daughter volunteered for Planned Parenthood. And she did so well, and I'm so proud of her that they actually hired her to help counsel other teens.
Oh, really?
Which I'm very proud of her.
Good for her.
You can just see these people stewing. And then it goes a little bit further. I think she had to, I probably have the story wrong, but this is how it's going in my head. She had to quit because she needed to volunteer. She needed time for volunteering, when you get to get into colleges and all this crap. So
she, but wasn't she volunteering for Planned Parenthood?
Yeah,
she didn't have to
and they
quit.
hired her.
Oh, they hired her.
Yeah, they hired her.
Oh, but that's not good for a resume to say I even worked for Planned Parenthood?
Not.
Oh, God
Apparently
almighty.
So
okay, all right.
She had another job, too, and maybe the job wasn't right for her. I don't know. But
So, listen, so you work with a bunch of working people, union members, used to vote Democrat, those guys. What happened?
Well, I don't think the Democratic Party even cares about people like us. I don't think they do. If they had any idea, and I'm sure it's going to piss a lot of people off.
Go for it. I don't care. Just say what you're saying.
Hillary was no choice. I mean, in my mind, she's a wonderful statesman. A perfect resume.
Perfect resume. But the wrong person.
Yeah. First off, she's been vilified for so long. we go to some carnival or festival out in Westmoreland County, and our kids will all get out of the car, and this guy gets out of his Dodge with his wife and his kid, and he gets out, and spits a big hawker. His kids or the wife are trying to get out of the other side of the car. He slams the door and turns around, and his shirt says, "Trump the bitch." And my kids are like, "Is there any way we go over and kick his ass?" I'm like, just leave it. And then he's walking, he's oh man. And, the wife and kid are 3 steps behind him.
So what's with these angry, pissed off macho guys?
I don't know.
And what's with all the women who vote? I mean, a lot of women love this Trump.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I've been.
But you know these people. You
I've
work.
been
with them.
trying to pin them down, and it's just I think it comes back to a lack of consideration. Like, you just don't take the time. And people are busy. I understand people are busy. There's so much stuff to do. People just don't take time to do anything, and they can get their opinions ready-made for them. So then you don't have to think.
Don't
about
you think
anything.
most people, though, most people don't trust their own judgment about this stuff? They think, I don't really know what the heck's going. So they do take opinions from some source, and that's left, right, and center, right? That I sometimes have an opinion on something, but I don't necessarily know that much. It's just that's what the opinion I'm supposed to have, because I'm so a liberal. But I got better at sort of deciding my own, figuring things out myself. I don't know. I don't think we should let people off with they're too busy, because we got a lot of rights in this country, and not much is asked of us in return. But I think being a good citizen requires you to pay attention. How can these people support? What do you think's happened to the Republicans?
It's a lot of machismo and just, walk around.
Yeah, it's
like
all this, but it's
fake.
totally masculine.
So
It's a cartoon of what masculinity is, and it's like a bully boy stuff, right?
Mhm.
It's so unattractive.
I don't know if this is true or not, but I went to a little neighborhood elementary school. My mom taught there. It was,
Where?
she could see my house. So when I was sick at home, she could see my house from her classroom window. So
Where was this?
in Manor, out near Irwin and around there. And I just, my first grade teacher started teaching in the 20s, and I just feel like there's some kind of history that connects to that. And I just feel like those people, and there was all lady teachers till 6th grade, and there
Right.
were 2, and they had the paddles hanging in there, and I got paddled in school. I think that's another thing that might be missing.
Nah, I totally
spanking.
disagree. Yeah,
Uh,
that's just our macho stuff.
hell yeah.
Yeah, might makes right.
But I think that, just from growing up with those people, I just seem to feel like I have an open mind because of those teachers. Maybe I knew them better because my mom was,
your mom was
friends with them.
Or
but-
maybe you respected them more because your mom was a teacher. And I'll tell you something, unintended consequences. One of the things that happened when the women's movement happened, and women all of a sudden had more opportunities rather than being a teacher or a nurse or a secretary. Those are pretty much the 3, right?
Mhm.
Once women's liberation happened, so that's 70s, 80s, 90s, a lot of those women, those smart as heck women like your mom, who were teachers, went elsewhere. They started businesses, or they, became loudmouths like me, or whatever.
Mhm.
But that pool of smart as hell women that schooled generations of us, schooled us good.
Well.
Well, I was being colloquial. Schooled us well. That sort of got decimated, that pool by women being allowed into other realms. I really think that was an unintended consequence, and the people who went into teaching, there weren't as many great teachers. That's what I really do think that. Also, support for the public schools went kaplooey because of white flight, I think because of racism more than anything else, and then classism, where all these hoity-toities can put their kids in private schools, which I'm just opposed to. Public schooling is what mixed us all up and got us to know each other.
Well, that was something that was important to my wife and I's.
To me too. I had the money to send my kid to fancy dancy public schools, and I didn't do it because I had a greater value, which was the public school. So he went to the neighborhood school.
Well, there's sacrifices to make. Like 3 of my kids have thrived in Pittsburgh schools, and one had no place. Our oldest one, he had some
learning disabilities.
Yeah, I guess that's what you'd call them. And he had a couple teachers that straight up dicked him around in school, and maybe a couple of them wrote a sock in a jar or something for that. But he essentially got a really terrible education. It's horrible. He's a great person, but then nobody could serve his needs.
You didn't try a private education for him, or
by the time it was
yeah.
By the time we realized that we had 3 other kids, and them little bastards are expensive.
Yeah.
You go grocery shopping, you bring these big bags of groceries in, and they go over and eat it all. It's like, wait a minute, I didn't put it away yet. I just want to throw some, a little light on my inadequacies, because a lot of that was my fault too. I don't know.
Well, your first,
Yeah.
Parents, what do we know?
Yeah, right.
Boy, is there anything more, I don't know, humbling than being a parent? You don't know half the time, right? And we all make I made terrible mistakes. Like, I've second-guessed myself. Why did my son have to, fall on my dagger of public schooling when I don't think he got a very good education it didn't serve him well because he did have some issues. And, you do wonder.
Well, the 3 older kids, 3 younger kids, I think they're all doing well. And, the Cap and the other one's out in Obama. And I really like that he goes to Obama because I got an Obama stickers on my truck.
Yeah.
Those guys
just to drive your... Are you popular with your coworkers?
I have no idea. People are generally... Well, I'm getting older now, and people just quit listening to me because I just blah 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 blah. Sometimes.
Do you do it just to provoke them or to have fun with them?
I like to have. You should have fun all day at work and laugh. Work goes fast. You just joking and. We try to have fun at work. It's not always possible.
Okay, I think you're getting it's Joe Pivo. I think you're getting some fans.
Oh boy. Go away.
No. Milton says, I am loving this guest. His perspective is far too rare and needs a greater platform. His is a voice that was once familiar to me among my uncles and their cronies in the steel mills up and down the Mon Valley. Hard-working, smart men who worked with their hands and had appreciation for intellect in their heads and compassion for their brothers in their hearts. It's a perspective I missed and welcomed hearing this morning.
Well, that's nice. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, so I thought maybe when I invited you to come, I'd had too much to drink. And now now I must have been okay. Because Joe, I'm feeling the same way that you're. What happened to but so how come? I don't know.
It's really strange because when I first came to work, these guys that I work with, they were old and they were all in their 50s, and like, there was no bullshit. Like, I did something wrong at work. We were alone. Nobody was around. A guy grabs me. He's like, this is my job. This is my name. If you ever do anything like that again, I'll throw you right the fuck off the roof. I mean, I'm not even goofing around here. And I was like,
They took their work really seriously and pride in it.
That made a strong impression on me. And for a lot of years, I took it the wrong way, you know, and I was like trying to be hard ass all the time, but I got over it. And
you grew up.
yeah, and I got to do some amazing work. Now the industry's changed. We used to literally go out on a job and, have an idea what we were doing, measure everything up, go back in the shop, take the sheets out of inventory, mark down what we were doing, make our stuff, go to handbrake, bend it up, and go back and put it on. And now everything comes in boxes. It's from Kentucky somewhere. It's a pile of crap. You hope it goes on. It's all junk. Nobody cares. It's designed for thoughtless, mindless idiots to put on, and it's like sucks. But I still get good money for it, so that helps.
Oh, dear. So what used to be, where you worked with where you saw a job through, where and now instead it's, well, this is what happened, the capitalist won.
Yeah, when I first started, I was the knowledgeable one. I knew, and everybody worked with, we knew what needed done. Now it's not even an architect anymore. It's some jag, maybe some 23-year-old kid that just got out of some kind of technical school, and like the guy say, hey, show you what you did up at that children's hospital. We put all those copper panels on a children's hospital.
I love
so they
that
had
building.
more work.
Yeah.
We lost the work on the back somehow, and they were doing more work later. And I'm not showing this kid how to write. He's getting paid to write the specs. I'm not. So have attitude. I'm not teaching somebody. I had an argument with a non-union. We were working side by side with these non-union people, and a guy comes up and he's asking me all these questions. Why are you doing that? 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 I'm like, look, dude, go down to Local 12, get an apprenticeship, get them to send you to Myers, and send them out on my job. And when you're my apprentice, I'll show you everything I know. Till then, I'm not telling you anything.
So there's a lot of people out there who don't know what they're doing anymore. Yeah. There's not pride in work. There's not. There still is, but there's a lot of shoddy work.
It's not. I would say, in defense of my union brothers, it's not the work. It's the planning of the work and the.
So it's the suits. Okay. So we're getting to something here then. So I'm wondering if the guys who do the labor, if they really resent being told what to do by these college-educated suits who don't know half of what the laborer knows, getting paid more, looking down. Because I'm trying to understand why so many blue-collar workers now just seem to despise anyone who is, an elite, like a college-educated person or something. Do you think there's some of it's coming from? I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out.
It pisses me off, but I think a lot of guys are just like, they take a more broader view of it. Well, this is what we need to do, and a lot of guys, you can turn around, you can focus on getting work. Like we got to get this. We got to get this work done really fast, so you can focus on becoming extremely fast at what you do, or, there's other ways to look at it and still deal with it. I guess you kind of got to not think about it, just do what the hell you're told,
Oh God, but
which is fine. It is fine. Sometimes you just have to shut up and do what you're told. That's probably my biggest problem.
You should shut up?
Yeah, nobody cares. Just get the shit. I know it's screwed up. It's wrong. Just put it on. Let's get out of here.
Listen, after this little half hour on my show, you're going to have your own show.
Yeah, well, that would be cool.
Would you like it?
Hell yeah, I'd love it.
Okay, maybe we can make that happen. We'll have to figure out. Seriously, if you want to hold forth, bring some of your... I mean, it just seems like people need to... So, okay, so you voted for Hillary, though, no, you didn't? Shit. Joe, did you vote for Trump?
I don't know if I should admit this, but...
Oh, dear.
So, since my children have been small, babies, I've taken them to vote every time.
I always did, too, with
and now my oldest son, he's 18. You know, he gets to walk in there like the tough guy. He knows every... He's back there and vote. It was great.
Yeah, yeah.
Very proud of him. Should have taken a couple pictures. I mean, it's important to vote.
You pass that value down to your children. My son felt about Hillary like you do. But I just said, you gotta vote. You have got to vote for her. I don't care. You have got to vote for her. Just hold. And he said he did. He promised me. He said, I voted for her and I let out a scream. He said he actually screamed he was in such, it killed him. He couldn't stand her.
I do have a lot of respect for her, and I think for me the changing point was in that debate when that jackass was like hovering behind her.
Oh God!
Like she should have just turned around. I don't know.
Yeah,
what
I know.
She should have been like
right. But see, a woman can't do much of anything because it would be so. It's like a black man. Obama couldn't be angry because an angry black man scares white people.
But she should have. That was
she
point
should have.
Because
agree.
that would have been
what the hell are you doing?
That would have been But see, I've run it through my mind. What could she do? You know, I think she say or you step up to the mic or whatever. Get over in your place. What's your problem?
Anything.
She could have got a squirt gun out. Squirt. Like that. That was the whole future of.
You really think if she had simply turned and done something, you think it'd be a different outcome? People would have loved it.
There's only like she couldn't have turned him and said, "Donald, please go back." Then she would have been, an uppity bitch or something.
Yeah, right.
She didn't have a lot of options.
No, that's what happened.
I mean, like a pie.
She's doing a debate. She doesn't have a pie or a squirt
the
gun.
options were extremely limited. But going back to voting for Hillary, so I took my kids, and I was talking about voting for that Jill Stein, and especially because I was told I voted for Ralph Nader.
Oh, Jesus.
And I thought he's gay.
Man.
I thought it'd be great to have a gay president.
Is Ralph Nader gay? I think he's asexual.
So. I hope so.
I don't think he has any gender at all. I think he sleeps on a bed of nails and.
I doubt it. The only thing I don't like about him is he ruined a Corvair, which was a great car. I've seen a Corvair go 200 miles an hour, and I've seen a Corvair pop a wheelie. I mean, how cool is that?
Jeez.
But so I was threatening to vote for Jill Stein, and my two middle kids marched me down there.
And they made you vote for
Hillary.
Hey, all right. Not a good it did. He still, and Pennsylvania, we're responsible for putting him through. Okay, so what do we do? What do we do to get working guys back? How do the Democrats? They have to stop. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I keep to quote Curly from the Three Stooges. I keep thinking and nothing happens.
Yeah, right. I know that feeling.
I don't know what to do. I mean, we're so up against it, and well, I see like there's a talk show I listen to from Chicago.
What is it?
It's this guy named Ben Jarosky, and he's just local right there. But one day a week he has union guys on there. So if you could see some of our leadership, there's a big gap between rank and file and our leadership. I hear guys like, I won't vote. I won't do anything they say. I've heard, I'm not 4 apprentices on a job, and I'm like, hey, listen, can you please go vote? They want to do whatever the thing was, and I'm saying to these kids, look, if you don't care, at least for my kids, go vote this way. This will help my kids. Then excuses. I'm not voting because they'll get me for jury duty. And one was, I don't give a crap, and I'm not voting because they'll catch me for a bench warrant or something. I always thought that jury duty was part of your responsibility.
Yeah, well.
The only
Boy, are you a throwback.
I served on jury duty 4 times, and then I wrote them a letter, and in like 5 years, and I said, hey,
Can't somebody else do it?
My kids were little, but I just went on jury duty again. I got like 15 years old.
I get called a lot, but I never end up on a jury. They take one look at me and say, oh, no, not her.
I've had some wonderful experiences.
Really? And you know what? Next time you come on, we'll talk about that. Because our time is up. You are just wonderful. And you already got a fan club.
Holy heck. Go away.
Joe Pivo. Why didn't you have to work today? Because you thought we'd need a rain day. It's not a rain day.
Mental health day, and then I have to go. It's kind of
okay. Never mind. Yeah. Never mind. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
I got to trust my instincts more. This is great. And will you come back sometime?
Yeah, sure.
Good. Because wow, yeah, breath of fresh air. So, guys, you can thank me later. Okay? Have a good weekend, and I'll see you on Monday.
So long.
Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.